Welcome to the feedback video for the Dragons and Dinos challenge. Sorry for the delay on this one, but life's been crazy. This one was a bit of a challenge. We got some really cool pieces out of it, but we always knew Dragons and Dinos was going to be a lot of work for some people. So we got quite a few dropouts, which is fair enough. But some of the stuff that we've got, I think, is really nice. So we should start it off. I'm obviously here with Lucas, and we're going to give everyone a brief bit of feedback, and hopefully it's helpful. What we're going to start off with is Damon's little skink priest. Lucas, I've already been talking. What do you reckon? You may as well start.
Yeah, I feel like this challenge, you could either go really massive or really tiny, because it's quite a broad scope. And I feel like Seraphon is an obvious choice. I think Damon's done a really good rendition of this one. The colours are really interesting to look at, and he's gone a bit different to what you would normally see with Seraphon when people go crazy on the feathers. The feathers are more subdued, and the real colour comes from the skink's skin and like the jade. And I really like the colour composition. It's quite nice to look at, and it's different, especially seeing flowers on the base. And I think the non-metallic on the staff is really great. Yeah, I really like it. And in terms of maybe some improvement, I would have more focus on like the non-metallic on the face. Like the skin overall is quite flat. Like it's really nice, you've got a good value range, but maybe a bit more focus around the face, because his eye socket gets tucked away quite a lot in that helmet, and bringing a bit more attention to that, to the eye especially, would be nice. Maybe a bit more brightness on that feather, the plume on the top of the head compared to the rest of the feathers. But again, stuff I'm saying might be down to, in some part, to photography. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen the angles of this from the other side. Like the skin this model suffers with, because it's hunched over, the front always looks so dark. But the picture is pretty accurate, to be honest. I think you're bang on. The eye gets lost because it's basically like it's almost the same color as the gold itself.
Yeah, that's another issue, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you're bang on there. It's getting lost a little bit. I also think some color shift in the face, some more like variation in hue in the face would help quite a lot as well, because the skin's really nice, but it is all pink. Do you know what I mean? So I think that will help quite a lot to make it pop a bit more.
It's the same kind of with the feathers, isn't it? If you could have maybe a darker tone towards the tips of the feathers, make like a little subtle halo. And also make the bone a bit more cooler and desaturated, so it separates away from the gold again. Yeah. Because you've got the stone on the bottom, which could be a bit more grey, and the skull on top of the staff, which should be a bit more grey, and that can kind of make the focus more central.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I completely agree. Even at the very least, just the feathers being a little bit more shiny will make them pop more.
Yeah, 100%.
Shiny's not always obviously the answer, but I think that would just be the most straightforward way of solving it.
With small scale stuff, over egging and exaggerating your value contrast does a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I will say the green on that staff is awesome.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, it's proper nice. Yeah, that's really well done. I think overall it's absolutely lovely. I have a bit of a love-hate with this relationship with this skink anyway, because I hate the pose. Because you have to have so much of it that's just in shadow. So I think overall it's an amazing model, but the body really annoys me. Like I would have to repose this, or it would have to be in a bigger scene or something like that. So I think he's done a really good job of it.
The staff is just so big, isn't it? It just kind of unbalances the composition a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you what's really impressive with this, actually. People underestimate how hard it is to do a non-met staff, as in a shaft, right?
A lot of flat surfaces, yeah.
Yeah, and then get that line, like for example, the shaft itself, get that transitional line where it fades from silver to, well, black in this case, but get it so it's blended and straight. Because you know what it's like, if that line's not straight, it looks weird. Yeah. So most of the time when we do it, we just paint a straight line. Because it's 1,000 times easier. So I think that's really impressive as well. Yeah. But yeah, I love this. I think it's amazing. Like really nice piece. I think, as we said, the head, the eyes, would help massively. Okay, cool. On to the next one. Winnie. I love the fact that this is a Dragon Ball character in a Dragons and Dinos.
I'm not a Dragon Ball fan, so it took me until you said it. I didn't realise that it.
Oh, really? You've only just clicked. You're like, why is this random thing in a Dragons and Dinos?
Yes.
Sorry, Winnie. Yeah, I really love like when people attempt the cell shaded style. It's something that I want to do in the future, and it's really,
same here.
It's just so different, isn't it? It's just feels like
We should do it as a bit of a double challenge.
Yeah, maybe another next community challenge or something. Cell shaded.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That could be fun.
Yeah, it's lovely. The orange is so eye catching, and the hair, especially like the spikes, how it's all rendered really dramatically. Yeah, I don't have a lot of negatives to say about this. In terms of how you capture the style, it's great. I would maybe want to add a bit more rosy tones to the skin in the shadows. That's about it. Yeah, what do you think?
I think overall it's a success. I think it's really nicely done. As far as cell shading goes, I think the result sells it, right? It's very clear what he's trying to do. The result is excellent. Brilliant. I don't really have a lot in that regards to say. I think when it comes to the hair, I wish it wasn't grey. Like, you know me, I've got this thing for neutral greys. I hate neutral greys. They just always bore me. Like, they're just lifeless. So changing that, I think, would like just to make it warmer or colder, especially in an anime setting. Like when in animes, a lot of the time when they've got black hair, their hair is actually blue. I know that's not the case in Dragon Ball, but it's a perfect example. Or their hair's purple. And then they literally call it out going, you've got black hair, and you're like, no, it's blue. But anyway, so some kind of colour in it, I think would have helped massively. I also think, and it's probably because this is quite a hard thing to do, the cat, whatever that is, I don't know what that is, but the cat itself is not, it doesn't actually feel
the same style, does it?
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. And I think that would probably be my feedback overall, is that there does seem to be a bit of a disconnect between the cat and I think this is Goku. Kid Goku or something like that, I don't know, but yeah,
sounds about right.
You've got no idea, you uncultured swine. But overall I think it's lovely. Like, I think this is really, really nice.
Yeah, one thing that you pointed out with the hair has made me look at it. I think one thing that would really help this style is just giving the whole thing like a ultra matte varnish, because I'm noticing the sheen of the paint in the hair. It's not making the paintwork shine out as much as it could.
Yeah.
So if it was like a uniform finish, maybe that would just make the cell shaded stuff pop out even more. Right,
next up we got Bold Bear. This is what you were talking about when it was like, oh, you're going to go really big or you're going to go really small. And I'm surprised more people just didn't do small Seraphon, to be honest with you. Or Seraphon Lizardman. Now, he was... I'm surprised Bear finished this, to be honest, because there was points where he was like, this is just not working. And I felt really bad for him.
Isn't Bear the guy he always rushes it in one night, and then this time he's decided to do the biggest thing and put the most amount of effort possible into this challenge. I mean, the difference is crazy. And it's so cinematic. I absolutely love this piece. And I think...
It's worth pointing out, there is a picture with a black background.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth pointing out for everyone, like, you photograph and frame your miniature how you see it. So I put this background on there. Sorry, I put this photo with the background on there because I think it just makes the model look better. Because as you say, it's more cinematic. So you're allowed to do this, by the way, for anyone who says otherwise. Carry on.
Tell how big it is.
It's massive.
I feel like it's massive. Yeah, okay.
It's massive, this is.
Yeah, and I think on Discord he wasn't very happy with it, but I think it's stunning. It's so good. I love.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, go on.
I love the difference between the dragons, because a lot of people have like when you think dragon, you just think like, oh, it's going to be a red dragon or a green dragon, but it's kind of like a yin and yang, in my opinion. They've got the same kind of colours, but the values are shifted opposite. You've still got the reds in both of the wings. You've got some purples in both of them, a bit of blue, but it's just kind of opposites, and I really like that.
Yeah, I mean, completely agree. One of the biggest things that I like about this is across the whole thing, it's got a very harmonious palette, and I think that's quite impressive. Like, the colours that's in both dragons are in both dragons, but they're very clearly different colours. Do you know what I mean? I would have liked to see more green in those dragons, just because the dragons themselves have got a bit of a separation from the base. Even then, it's not jarring, so I'm being a little bit picky there. I think this piece is a perfect example. Like, I've been talking a lot recently since doing the zombie dragon, where you've got to have this idea of sometimes perfection, right, is not the goal, because sometimes pieces are so big, all that really matters is the overall. Because unless you want to spend 3 years painting something, that's just not, it's not feasible. It doesn't make any sense. And I think this is the perfect example of a piece that's absolutely huge. Yes, it's not perfect, but overall the result is brilliant. Like, the result is really great. That's the success in itself. I think we get caught up too much in seeing people paint busts or a 75mm or a 28mm model, and they're painted to absolute perfection. And that's what we're supposed to do on everything, and that's just not the case.
Yeah, I agree. It's a lovely model.
Yeah, it's really impressive. I don't have a lot of negative to say about this, where that negative would be relevant, because we could talk about, it needs to be refined more, it needs to be smoothed more, and that sort of stuff, and it's just, none of that stuff is relevant. I think he's nailed it here.
Yeah, and I think the only thing that could be improved is the photography, but obviously with a model this massive, it's incredibly hard to photo, because you've got to get so much light, you've got to balance it all. It's almost impossible. Nothing compares to seeing it in the flesh, probably. That's the best viewing you can have for this model.
And I'll see what I do, actually. This is the black and white. This is the black background. So
a lot more colours going on. You can see more clarity.
Absolutely. So this makes it pop even more. It's so nice. But again, it's so hard to photograph something like this. Like, you would have to have like a proper special setup just for this, for something this big. So yeah, I think genuinely it's a stunning piece. Overall, it's a stunning piece. Should be really happy with it.
A wise choice that he didn't get a plinth for it, because that would have cost an arm and a leg.
Yeah, just don't bother. It's not worth it. So next one, I can never pronounce his name. Myeonmu. Just gonna call it Mu.
Sounds about right.
Now, some people are going to be like, squigs are not dinos or dragons, but we're counting it because it's a squig and I like squigs.
It's close enough. Like, what else would it be? What would you class it as? A demon pig?
Do you know what? Weirdly, right, I adore squigs, but I always thought of them more as dogs. They always remind me of bulldogs.
Yeah.
But regardless, it's fine for this. Yeah, what do you reckon?
Classical colour scheme, so obviously that works. You've got the red squig, the yellow cloth, the green skin for the goblin. I'm going to go straight to photography. I wish it was a bit more front on, just a bit more, so we could see more, especially the tongue, because that's a big focal point for this model.
This model's really hard to photograph, though, I will say.
It's like, it doesn't have a great golden angle. It's just one of those models you want to have in your hand and just keep looking and turning it around.
I completely agree.
But I would say like the non-metallic on the arm is quite convincing, especially on the spear. It's quite a difficult form. It's quite irregular. It's not smooth and it's really jagged, so they've done a great job on that. I love the depth of colour on the squig skin, because it's not linear. It goes from orange in the highlights to the red to a bit more purple in the shadows. I just like the variation of colour across the whole thing. It doesn't feel too jarring. It's easy on the eyes. And I think it's just captured kind of like when you think of colour psychology, that's why squigs are red. They're quite chaotic and angry. So everything fits the piece, in my opinion.
I'm the same. So there's a few key points here. I think the foot I really like. That arm is really impressive. I do really like the blade as well. I wish it had more colour in it, because it's a blue spear, right? And I get it, like when we paint steel and NMM, especially when people are like quite inexperienced in it, everything's blue. Every steel, every iron, like it's blue. So I wish we had some different variation in that, I think. But the NMM overall is really impressive. I think the skink is really nice, because red's hard to paint, right? especially when it's quite like these squigs. People don't realize, like, although these squigs are full of shapes and everything, they're actually really flat. They don't have any extreme angles to push like nice value contrast or sharp lines or anything like that. So you've got to be quite brave with your highlights when you put them in place.
Yeah.
And I think they've done a bang on job of that. Like, to be honest, I agree about the color. The color's great. I would like to see more of the tongue. I think that's my only frustration.
Yeah.
And I do.
So
go on.
You go first.
I was about to say, like, I talk about consistency quite a lot. And when you're painting something, if you paint something to the standard of this squig, well, everything else ideally needs to be the same standard, right? Not everything needs to be perfect, but we're looking for a consistent standard, because otherwise the parts that are inconsistent really stand out. And the reality is the squig is done really, really nice, but the transition on the tongue is not up to the same standard as the squig. So the tongue is really standing out to me because that transition on the tongue is not as good. So, and I say this quite a lot, it's better to be consistently good than inconsistently great. So I think that's one thing that I find quite jarring with this, is the tongue is not up to the same standard as everything else.
The only thing I would add is the tongue is very bright compared to the rest of the model. And yes, it's a focal point, but I think it's a bit too bright. Can have a bit more shading, really render it more of it's two cylinders kind of joined together. And apart from that, I would just try and make the goblin skin a bit brighter. I mean, it's got all the right colours in there, but the goblin, again, is a focal point. You've got two characters, and I feel like the goblin just fades away a bit. I mean, that's understandable because the squig, in my opinion, is a fair bit more interesting.
Oh, it's all about the squig.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a bit more light on top of the forehead, render that sphere of the skull, maybe a bit more on the knuckles, and especially when it gets to the tips of the fingers, it gets really dark really quick. Maybe just a bit more attention to the end of the fingers, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Okay, so this is Derps, right? I'm just going to put it out there. I did not know that I needed a fat dragon in my life.
Yeah,
this is proper cool. Yeah, this is like, I don't know where this is from. I think this might be Dragon Trapper's Lodge, actually. But anyway, I've got no idea. It's fat dragon. It's really, really cool. Overall, it's really nice. What do you reckon?
I don't have many negatives to say in it because it kind of ticks all the boxes that I want to see from this kind of model.
Yeah, mine are all very petty, like very little.
Okay,
bits of feedback.
I say what I think and then see if they line up with you? I think the horns could be a bit more different. They're too warm, maybe a bit cooler. I can't tell if this isn't a bad thing or not, but I kind of wish there was a pupil in the eye. Maybe there it is and it's pure white and I can't tell from the photo. But I can't tell where this guy's looking.
Yeah, I don't think there's a pupil.
Because I don't know if that's a bad thing or not, but maybe it would just add a bit more charisma to it if you knew where it was looking. I don't know.
I think this is really interesting, right? Because it's not a bad thing, because it's clearly a choice. But the problem is, the minute you choose to not put a pupil in it, you lose. Like, you know, it's like you paint a bust and like it's so lifeless, and then you're like, oh, do you know what? If I just slap in some rubbish eyes, the whole thing comes to life, even if they're bad. So it's almost like you're sacrificing the character, the soul of the model, by not putting them in.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really hard trade-off. I think this is why I just don't do. I won't do eyes that don't have pupils, because it's too much of a sacrifice from my perspective. But yeah, anyway, I agree.
Maybe it would be lovely to have a bit more of a base, just so you have more of a colour contrast, perhaps. So, I mean, it doesn't need a base, but I think it would be quite cool to have something going on there.
Listen, I'm just going to put it out there. The fact that Derp even finished this, right?
Okay.
we'll give him that.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I love it. I really love, one bit I love a lot is the underbelly. For some reason,
I knew you were going to say that. Just here.
And it's like freckled as well. I really love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, mine's mirroring yours. You pretty much nailed it, to be honest with you. So the eye is really nice, but I wish it had a pupil. The horns are just getting lost. They don't stand out in comparison to everything else. But it's also all of the brown, like even the tiny brown scales. Unless you really look, you can't see that there is brown scales on the body. Same as the claws. So I think they almost look unfinished.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is what stands out to me. The best bit is like this, the yellow body. I completely agree with you, especially this highlight as it comes around is really, really nice. What I would have liked to have seen on this is just a push in some areas. So for example, on this red, I'm just going to go straight forward as well. Like no messing around. I'm just going to go, here's a brighter red, so pink. Like the cheek, for example, if you did it more like it's stretched skin and push the highlight on that cheek, the dragon's still going to look red. Doesn't matter how pink you go, the dragon's going to still look red because it's dominantly red. But it just adds more interest to the face area. Like just a little more to the head because it gets lost. But that's my only feedback with this.
Big cheeks.
Yeah. But yeah, honestly, I think this is wicked. I love it. That's my feedback.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, cool. Right. Now I'm gonna put this out there before we even say anything about this. Obviously, Lisa's an amazing painter. I don't like this model.
Okay.
Right, which is really weird for me because I love dragons. But my opinion here is not very biased. It's quite biased, sorry. Like, I'm not a fan of this sculpt at all.
Well, I love it, so we're going to have a nice balance, I think.
Exactly, yeah. So, but I think it's worth just being like completely open about these things. I also don't think she didn't send us any other pictures, I don't think. But regardless, yeah. I'm not sure about this as an angle as well, for like a golden angle. I'd like to see more of the side of but for a dragon, because of the length of the head. And by the way, she could have sent us this picture and we could have just picked the wrong picture, so I apologise. But it's been a little while since these pictures were sent in. We've been running a bit behind. But yeah, I'd like to see more of the side of the dragon's head, but regardless. This one, yeah.
Because it's so nicely painted, it would be nice to see other angles.
Yeah.
The first thing that jumps out to me is I love the colour, the hue transitions on the skin that just makes it feel like skin. There's a lot, even though it's a green dragon, there's loads of red and oranges, which implies there's blood flow and it's an organic thing, and it works so well. And I know Lisa's done dragons in the past, so she's got a lot of experience, and this clearly shows that she knows what she's doing, because there's no questions when you look at this. It just feels like a living thing.
Feels real, not fantasy.
Exactly, yeah. And yeah, just all the volume she's picked out is great. I love how the top of the head is darker, gives it a bit more of a mature or like aggressive appearance. It really highlights kind of like the arrow shape of the brows, makes him look a bit more angry and mean. And from a model perspective, I feel like it looks like almost a bit like a moose with the horns, the antlers.
Yeah.
And I like that about the model. You probably don't like that about the model, but I really do. And I like how she reserves like the fiery orange just for the tissue around the eyes. You don't see it anywhere else, and it really just pops, especially, as I said, the top of the head is darker. The only thing I don't like, and this is a nitpick, it doesn't really matter, it's the transition from dragon to base. I wish it was a bit darker.
Yeah, okay.
But that's about it. I really like it. It's got a strong theme, a strong concept, and I think the way she's rendered all of the materials is really nice.
Okay. So first of all, no, I'm going to try and be good here, because it's not just because I don't like a sculpt doesn't mean the paintwork's not lovely. I love the fact that it doesn't look like, if you were walking through a forest and you saw this, you wouldn't think that's straight out of a cartoon book. I don't know what a cartoon book is, a comic or a cartoon, right? You'd think like it was actually real. Like it feels natural. And I think that's something that, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something that can actually be quite hard to do. So I love the palette on this. I love the fact that the palette is reserved enough to feel real, right? I really like the fact that the head is darker than everywhere else, because the minute you choose to do something like that, you're automatically giving yourself a real challenge of, is this going to be my focal point? Like, because you know, it's like normally your focal points, you go, right, this is just going to be brighter and it's just going to help draw everyone to where I want them to look. So the minute you choose to go, oh, do you know what, the head is going to be darker, you're actually giving yourself a harder job. And I think that's really cool, but it's also like, she's nailed it. It works. And I appreciate that's because the snout is still bright and you've got those hints of orange around the eyes. So yeah, it's great. So I absolutely love that about this. I'm not sold on the antlers.
Yeah.
So I really like the texture on the antlers. I think that's really important to clarify. The material texture of the antlers, I think, is really, really lovely. But from a level of excitement point of view, I think they could have been pushed more in comparison to the dragon. At the very least, at the sections around the head. Because if you look at the tips of the antler here, like, they push quite bright. They're really, it's got a really nice peak to them. But then it doesn't really follow through in these areas. And the thing is, the reason why I say this is if those were even just brighter, well, what you would have done is it would have created this nice brown. It would have created this nice bright frame around the darkness of that head. And I think it would have reinforced it a bit more. But overall, the paint job's stunning, which I'm not surprised about. Like, the first time I met Lisa, she'd painted a white dragon. And I fell in love with it at Fen. Like, it was amazing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like the point about the horns. Like, the only thing that it needs is maybe if you were to do a temperature shift and have a cooler grey on the tips, just so there's a bit more emphasis. It will make it feel a lot sharper than it is. I know it might not necessarily need it, because to me it feels a bit like you know how reindeers have I don't know what it is, but like when it's winter they have a coating on their horns and then they scratch it off. That's what it kind of feels, that leathery kind of skinny that skin feel to the horns right now. But it'd be nice if it was a bit more of a cooler light on the tips, and you can incorporate that onto the darkness on the forehead a bit. So it just feels like reflected light rather than the skin. You're not sacrificing anything.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Okay, so last one. Now, on the flip side of this, I love this sculpt. This is one of my favourite sculpts ever.
I could say I hate it, but I don't. I love it too. It's great.
Yeah, go on. You've started every one of them, so you may as well start the last one.
Okay.
I think there's tons of colour in the eggs and tons of colour in the purple fabric, but there's not tons of colour everywhere else. I think if you were to have... I know I love magenta, but I'm going to say it again. If you have magenta in the shadows of some of these materials, it will tie everything together a lot nicer. So if you had a bit more of warm, like burgundy, not necessarily pure magenta, because I know when I say magenta, people think chimera magenta, and I don't mean that. Maybe more like if you were to think like a Baraknar burgundy, like that warm, dark, slightly muted tone that everything could be then drawn together with, make it more cohesive.
Yeah.
It would make the piece so much better, in my opinion.
So you're going straight in on the negative on this one?
Sorry. Yeah. It was just the thing that but because yeah, I'm sorry. It's great. The eggs, like, I think the colour combination you've got of purple and green is great. And obviously, it separates the two, so there's no confusion in terms of where I need to look. The guy, what was he? He's a dragon keeper. So yeah, he.
I think he's a dragon doctor, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I love it, but I'm sorry, I just jumped. It's caught me off guard now. I did jump straight to the next.
The damage is done, mate. Jack's gonna be watching this, being like, so rude. I think the reason why the jump is there is because it is very obvious, right? So what I mean by that is when you look at this piece in isolation. So people hate it when I do this. But if I just get rid of the eggs for a second, right? He looks amazing. Like, it's a really great paint job. The purple's lovely. The face is really, really characterful. Done a great job. You bring the eggs back, and actually you lose a little bit of the excitement because you're distracted by these green eggs. If you get rid of him, green eggs look amazing. So I think the big thing here is it's very possible to have isolated things which are really, really great, but if you don't integrate those colors together, it can actually be quite distracting. So what you've got here is you've got massive chunks of green, and then you've got this guy who's purple in the middle, and actually this is the perfect reason why we would go, right, where are you going to place elements of green into the base, into the dwarf? Where are you going to place elements of, doesn't have to be that exact green or that exact purple, but elements of purple elsewhere? And I appreciate I can see some of it underneath on the egg, but it's very, very subtle. And the base is basically neutral grey. So there's this huge opportunity here to basically integrate lots of colour everywhere in a subtle way to harmonise the piece. And that's not what's happened. So what you have is you have this very brutal, here's a purple guy in the middle of green eggs. And it is really well painted, but it's something that stands out to us a lot, I think, because it's something that we're always battling with, this idea of introducing colour everywhere and harmonising the palette.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm rambling.
Yeah,
that's my thoughts on it.
It's been stretched so far, and I think the eggs are so massive. Yeah, I talked about it in a recent video about having a 60-30-10, or just splitting your colour composition into certain amounts. Clearly the biggest part of this composition is green, and it's either side, so it frames, but it also detracts from the figure. So you need something to bring it back together. Like the skin tones is great in terms of the variation. You've got lots of reds, yellows, and some grey tones, but just need something to merge it all together. Apart from that, I will say, I would, in terms of continuity of light, I think the light on the eggs could be more like it is on the hat. The left egg looks like it's being lit from more left and up, and the right feels more like it's being lit from right and up, if that makes sense. Whereas the light on the hat is very central.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's another negative, I'm sorry.
I didn't see that, but I can see it now that you've just ruined it for me.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. I'm winding you up.
Maybe some grass tufts as well. Get a bit more green as well in the base. Just balance it out.
I think it's the perfect example of a model that's painted excellent, like really, really well in isolation everywhere.
Yeah.
It just would benefit from being pulled together. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's it, everyone. So hopefully this has been helpful to everyone. We haven't set the theme for the next Discord challenge, so if you're interested in getting involved in these, feel free to check out the Discord. The link is in the description below. Check out the Discord, keep an eye on the channel, and we will put a vote up for what we're going to do for the next challenge. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Lucas, you got anything to add for today?
Just thank you to everyone who participated. It was great looking at all your work. Looking forward to the next one. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to everyone. Means a huge amount. And we'll catch you later.